guys, Charles from Team COG, coming at you guys here with kind of a interesting video coming from the recent YCS. I sadly could not make it because of work. You know, they always like to like drop the date after I get my schedule, so I could not get it off. But anyway, guys, my man Bishop here, who is also a member of the channel, is going to bring you his Trap Cyber Dragon deck profile. A huge shout out to him and another member, Flexi, for getting the video recorded and sent to me. He competed over in the European YCS, which is very interesting to have, you know, like a European profile from that event on the channel. Other than that, guys, please remember, if you guys want to help support the channel, links are down in the description below. Use the TCG Player affiliate link. Use the link down there to become a member. On top of that, if you guys want to help support the channel, the member, of course, will become the best way, but check out the Team COG store down below and get your Rally to the Kings playmat today while supplies last. And without further ado, guys, we're just going to hand it on over to my man, Bishop. All right, so Bishop, take it away.
All right, so this is my YCS Trap Cyber Dragon deck that I took to the tournament on Saturday. My first YCS, I finished 4 wins and 4 losses. Lost to some meta matchups, but in all honesty, I love the deck to bits, and it performed really well for me, so I thought I'd just bring you the profile here. So, getting into the deck, you play your 1 Cyber Dragon. This is mandatory. You need to have at least 1 copy, but I don't want more than 1 copy due to me not having a machine duplication. Easy, special summon, contact fused away an opponent monster, and it protects your normal summon because you can normal summon after you've got rid of a negation like Mechaba. Play the best starter in the deck, it's 3 Cyber Dragon Core. Normal summoning this, mandatory effect on summon, and grab you a Cyberload Fusion, Cyber Emergency, an Overflow. Usually you'll search your emergency. If you've already drawn that, you'll search your Overflow. And this is probably one of the best starters that you can have in the deck. It's also got a very useful second effect, where if your opponent is the only one that controls a monster, you can banish it from your graveyard and special summon a Cyber Dragon from your deck. Special summon a Cyber Dragon monster from your deck, sorry, which is really cool, and not many people remember that one. 3 Cyber Dragon Hertz. It's another starter. It's a level 1 as well, so you can use it for things like Anima, Owl Mirage, Link Kariba if you play it. But if it's sent to graveyard, you can add 1 other Cyber Dragon from your deck or graveyard to hand. So it's really useful for sending off of something like Programmatic Rampage Dragon, because you can send this and core. Hers sends, adds you back your core to your hand. You've got a follow up for the next turn. Easy as that. Has an effect on special summon to make it level 5 for the rest of the turn. But I found that in the tournament that never came up because this is a trap deck, so it isn't running things like Galaxy Soldiers, which would get you into your Nova Infinity plays. Anything that allows you to special summon it from the grave. For your one-offs, you play 1 Veer, 1 Maxer. So your Veer is in there to help chain block your starters. So for instance, you can normal summon the core, effect on summon to add a Cyber Spell or Trap. Chain Veer in hand is a trigger effect, so it gets first priority. Chain Link 2 is Veer, Chain Link 1 is core, so chain blocking it, and meaning that at least you've got some board presence there. And it's probably one of the best one-offs you can have, because it does get priority over those hand traps. Naxter is really good when you have access to Cyber Dragon, because you can discard it, special summon it, and then target a machine monster with 2,100 attack or defense in graveyard, special summon it. Gives you 2 monsters just like that. Perfect. Link into Seeger. Unfortunately, it does lock you into machine, so you're locked out of Verte, but it means that you've got targets if you link into Seeger, if you hard draw Overload Fusion, whack that out, and then you've got a Rampage Dragon. But yeah, it's very important that you just play one-offs, I guess. Some people play 2. Personal preference is 1, and I quite like the ratios for all of them. Hand traps were 3 Phantasme, 3 Ash, 3 Ghost Spell. I don't play Pot of Prosperity because I can't afford it. So the Phantasmes and their draw effect came in clutch. They helped fix a lot of bricky hands, and they provided a negation on my opponent's turn 1 that really helped get rid of something on their board as well. Definitely recommend playing this at 3 if you don't have access to Prosperity. Bell was probably one of the VIPs in the deck. It helped stop a lot of effects in graveyard. The one thing that I kept misplaying on was when things banish for cost. Obviously, Bell can't negate those, so I got a bit hung up there, but it performed admirably in so many situations that I would definitely be keeping this at 3. Originally had these two at 2 copies each, but Bell at 3 for the foreseeable future, I think. Ash, generic hand trap, does what it says on the tin. I found it to be low impact though. It didn't, unless it was against like really weak rogue decks, there was no immediate turn end. It kind of just hindered them every now and then. And obviously Invocation players, if you Ash Alistair, they already have Invocation in hand. There's nothing you can do about it. The deck only plays 5 spells. Cyber Emergency, it acts like another starter, because if you draw it and you don't have any Cyber Dragons, Cyber Emergency, add core, you're away. If the activation is negated, you get sent to grave, you can discard another card from your hand, add it back, and play it again, which is also really cool, and something that actually came up. There was one game online actually where it came up, and it came up 3 times in the same turn because the activation just kept getting negated. I kept adding it back. One-offs, Overload and Cyberload Fusion. Overload banishes the fusion materials, Cyberload shuffles them in. Typically you'll be sending one of these off of Predator Verite Anaconda. Usually you'll start with your Overload Fusion, because you need to banish them first off. And then the Cyberload Fusion will be used in the grind game to shuffle them back in and give you more access. You never really want to run more than one of these. Although in some circumstances hard drawing Overload Fusion saved me, it's a very rare occurrence that that's the case. So yeah, one each of those, perfect ratio. Trap lineup is where this deck really comes into its own. 3 Overflow. 1 Unending Nightmare. So Overflow is a non-targeting destruction for cards on your opponent's field by banishing Cyber Dragons with different levels from hand, face-up field, or graveyard. And then when it's destroyed by a card effect, you can add 1 Cyber Spell or Trap from your deck to your hand, which is why I play the 1 Unending Nightmare. To pay 1,000, target 1 face-up spell or trap on the field, destroy it. So what you do, chain it 1, Cybernetic Overflow, flip it, banish your Cyber Dragons, and then wait for the response. Chain it 2, Unending Nightmare to pop Cybernetic Overflow, so that on a new chain you'd get Cyber Spell or Trap, whatever you wanted. This interaction didn't come up a lot, but when it did, it was really useful. But yeah, that is one of the most powerful cards that you have due to its sort of non-targeting nature. Next, we've got 2 OVs. We've got 2 Compulse, 2 Crackdown. I would consider bumping these up to 3. They both performed decently today when I drew them. The fact that neither of them are once per turn also really helps. Crackdown means that you get board presence to link off an opponent's troublesome monster. Compulse can stop like the normal summon, stop the special summon of a very important monster. Usually I find that against rogue decks, Compulse was a lot better because it bouncing back a rogue deck's normal summon, for instance against Furhire in my round 1, bouncing back their normal summon, or bouncing back one of their special summons meant, okay, turn over, see what you can do. So I was able to sort of win matches from there. As I said, definitely would consider bumping these up to 3. Just need to do some tinkering with what else I'm running. Next, 3 Dogmatic Punishments. These are probably going to be cut from my next version, but on the weekend they did well. When they came up, I was able to send a copy of Ventus from my extra deck. They didn't come up very often, and the downside is they do lock you out of the extra deck until the end of your next turn, which is something in Trap Cyber Dragon isn't the end of the world, but it's something that I found hindered me a few times because against decks like Dogmatic or Invoke Shaddoll, they can outgrind you in certain circumstances, and not having access to the extra deck really hurts you, especially when you can't contact views away their stuff. Then it's the best 6 traps in the deck: Dynamiscus and Solemn Strike. Strike, again, does what it says on the tin. Strikes fear into the hearts of the players that you play it against. Definitely the best trap. It overperformed massively. Dynamiscus allows you to discard hurts to get its effect. The cool thing about this is that it's only the targeting on the field that's cost. You don't have to discard. And then also, when a trap card is activated, you can special summon this from your graveyard, which, playing a Trap Cyber Dragon build, is very useful in getting you more monsters on the board. Dynamiscus overperformed as well, being able to just banish your opponent's sort of Nerval or their kit, or their troublesome monsters, meant that they had very little way of recycling them back in, which only benefits you at the end of the day. Onto the extra deck, we've got the 1 Anima, 1 Almirage. I'm considering putting Link Karibo back into the deck. Anima's effects pretty much never came up on Saturday. Almirage came up a little bit more, but I found them both to be slightly weak. However, I'll keep Anima in most likely because it does have the ability to be so powerful if people aren't playing around the extra monster zones. But these will be used to link off your core, your hurts, get Hurts' graveyard effect, and go from there. Link 2s, Verte, Seeger, Nightmare Phoenix. Nightmare Phoenix was a rookie mistake from me because I didn't have my copy of Lena the Light Charmer didn't arrive in time. Put Nightmare Phoenix in, not realizing that Cyber Dragon monsters, when they're on field or in the graveyard, all become Cyber Dragon, so they don't have different names to summon Phoenix. The Seeger is a good way to ensure the OTK. Verte is usually, if you don't draw the fusion spells, this is what you go into, so you can send the fusion spell and summon out your Rampage, and then swing from there. I didn't have Verte for a long time, but I'm very glad I do have it now because it is essential, and it just allows you a much more consistent way to get into your fusion plays. Then we have Nova Infinity. Didn't summon these guys once on Saturday. I was very annoyed about that, but they provide you negation. If you can summon them, I would never consider taking them out because when they do come up, they're just so useful and so powerful that I can't. I'm not running Galaxy Soldiers, which is why I wasn't able to summon them as much. But yeah, that's why I would be keeping them to win. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to summon them on the weekend. Run the 2 copies of Ventus, self-explanatory, targets for punishment. And then actual fact, when I played against the Dogma Invoke Shaddoll deck, these were my targets I sent off of his Maximus. I did find that I really only needed 1 because in every game except the Dogma Invoke Shaddoll game, I only needed 1. So the other one was just a waste of space. I feel like I'd run one of these even without the Dogmatic Punishments, because then if your opponent does resolve Maximus against you, then you can just send one of them and it will surprise them a bit. You've got contact fusion targets of Fortress Dragon, Mega Fleet. Mega Fleet single-handedly won me the game against Salamangreats. Just Contact fused away all of their link monsters that they left in. It was amazing. Fortress Dragon should have won me the game against Earth Machines, but unfortunately I made a lot of misplays there. He outgrinded me, which fell to him. But yeah, it was definitely a good player. I'd consider bumping this up to 2 and dropping this down to 2 because I felt like the third copy didn't come up. But yeah, I'm very happy with those cards. Otherwise, I think they're mandatory as well. Then we've got 2 Rampage, self-explanatory again. These Euro TK machines. The popping spells and traps on summon is very, very handy. Didn't come up too much, but when it did, it was very powerful. And sending 2 to gain additional attacks is also something that you need to do because you can send off, for instance, your Hers and your Core. Hers, grab back Core. Hers, grab back Naxter if you've already got Cyber Dragon in your grave. It's up to you. But this is... I don't think you want to run 3. You definitely don't want to run 1. But like 2 is definitely the right option for that. But yeah, that is the extra deck. The only change would be immediately Nightmare Phoenix out for Lena. But I simply didn't have the card. Extra deck, side deck, 3 Gamma Seal, 3 DD Crow, 3 Nibiru. Kaijus, you're out to Winder. I would consider putting in Jizukiru because you can Kaiju something and then Contact fuse the Jizukiru away, but I didn't think of that at the time. Nibiru's were because I didn't know what I'd run into, and rogue decks can typically struggle against all this. Being a hero player, I know that the rock hurts you. DD Crows did nothing for me. Never really came up. Yeah, I'm going to be cutting these unless something drastically changes in the mindset. They were just a waste of space and never helped me. Then, in terms of spells, 2 Dark Ruler, 3 Twin Twisters, 1 RBs. Much like the DD Crow, Dark Rulers did nothing. Yeah, I never drew them when I sided them. Maybe that's because of round 2. I never drew them when I sided them. And there was just I didn't see any reason to have them in the side deck. I can find better usage. The Twins and the Feather Duster I'm very happy with. Back row removal was amazing with this deck. I am considering running 2 Heavy Storm Duster in the main deck in place of some of the traps, but it remains to be seen. In the meantime, back row removal, I could change these for Cosmics, but I feel that for me, Twin is better because I can discard something like Hertz and get Hertz's effect. But yeah, the Dark Rulers and the DD Crows are both going to be cut. They just didn't help me at all. So yeah, that was the list that I went 4-4 with. I lost to Dogmatica and Vote Drytron, Tri-Brigade and Earth Machines, and my wins were Fur Hire, I got by in the last round, Salamangreat and Amazement. I think for first YCS, definitely performed well. Love playing the deck. I've got changes I like to make, but the one thing I love about it the most is that the trap lineup is so tailored to you. You can play it how you want to play it. But yeah, this is my YCS Trap Cyber Dragon profile. Hope you enjoyed. Remember to like and subscribe. And thanks, Charles, for having me on.